No more rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every chord by heart. Overture, curtain lights. This is it. We'll hit the heights. Oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show. This is it.
Because every live award show has to have an opening number. And with that said, we are live. Welcome, one and all, to the first ever Robbie One Kenobi Pro Wrestling Year-End Awards for 2015. I, of course, am your host, Robbie One Kenobi. Welcome to my inaugural Pro Wrestling Year-End Awards show, where I will honor all the highs in professional wrestling from WWE, Lucha Underground, NXT, and so forth in the year 2015. I'm really excited to be doing this, guys, because since I started my channel 1 year ago, I didn't do a 2014 Pro Wrestling Year-End Awards video. I haven't done a video of this caliber since starting this channel. So I thought, what the hell? Let's do it. We're going to end the year with a bang. So before I get started, let's do what I always do. And let's tweet this out to my wrestling brothers. Let's tweet this out to my wrestling brothers. Excuse me a minute for the silence. All right, guys. So if you're watching this live, as always, there's a comment section to the side. Leave your comments down below as I'm going through and handing out my awards. So here's how it's going to go. I have a total of 17 categories. I am mainly honoring the good, the real good, and the great of professional wrestling throughout 2015. I don't have any awards like worst match of the year, worst show of the year, worst segment of the year, so forth. I mainly have, match of the year, wrestler of the year, women's wrestler of the year, so forth. So how it's going to work, real simple. I'm going to go through all 17 categories, read off all the nominees, give you my personal picks, and then a little, not backstory, but I'll pretty much just give you a little, I don't want to say explanation. Basically, once I give you my picks for winners, just tell you real brief why I pick that person or that match or that segment, so forth. So, as always, comments, questions, so forth are always welcome. So let's get right down to business with the first award of the show, and that is Breakout Star of the Year. And the nominees are Kevin Owens, Neville, Angelico, Pentagon Jr., Becky Lynch, Ivelisse, Sasha Banks, Chad Gable, Lana, Katrina, and Asuka. And the winner for Breakout Star of the Year is Kevin Owens. He may not have won a Slammy last Monday night, but Kevin Owens is deserving of Breakout Star of the Year. Nothing against Neville. I think he's a great performer, but Kevin Owens undoubtedly had the breakout year in 2015. He comes to NXT. He unmercifully assaults his friend Sami Zayn. 4 power bombs in a row at NXT TakeOver Rival. Beats him via knockout to win the NXT Championship. Goes on to have a very dominant championship reign. takes out, injures Zayn again at NXT TakeOver Unstoppable, puts him on the shelf for pretty much the rest of the year. Just a great reign as NXT champion, and then he gets called to the main roster. He picks a fight with John Cena, and he ends a fight with John Cena at Elimination Chamber. Beats Cena in his debut match. Goes on to have a great trilogy of matches with Cena, although I was not a fan of what happened in the following 2 matches. Had a real good match with Cesaro at SummerSlam. Wins the Intercontinental Championship at Night of Champions. Makes it to the Final 4 of the Survivor Series WWE World Heavyweight Championship Tournament. Kevin Owens had a Brock Lesnar-like year in 2015. And I am only hoping he has an even better year in 2016, and that he gets the booking he deserves, the push he deserves, and ultimately establishes himself as one of the top faces in WWE. Like I said, he may not have won a Slammy for Breakout Star of the Year, but Kevin Owens gets the Robbie One Kenobi 2015 Pro Wrestling Year-End Award for Breakout Star of the Year. Next award is Entrance of the Year. A little something I came up with for myself. A little something I came up with for fun. Nominees are Judgment Day is here. Triple H's WrestleMania 31 entrance. The Boss arrives in style. Sasha Banks' NXT TakeOver Brooklyn entrance. Finn the Ripper. Finn Balor's NXT TakeOver London entrance. Mother Russia. Rusev's WrestleMania 31 entrance complete with Russian Tank. 25 years of The Undertaker from Survivor Series. And Vampiro the Unholy from Ultima Lucha. And the winner for Entrance of the Year is Finn the Ripper. Undoubtedly, Finn Balor's demon entrances have become a spectacle. It seems like every time he goes to war as the demon, we see a new side of the demon. At NXT TakeOver Unstoppable, he had spikes and bat wings when he entered against Tyler Breeze. He debuted a more darker demon paint against Kevin Owens at Beast in the East in Tokyo. But when he did the Finn the Ripper entrance at NXT TakeOver London, when he was basically Jack the Ripper, more demonic, I marked out, and in my opinion, that is undoubtedly Balor's best demon entrance yet. I mean, you had the video of Jack the Ripper walking toward the screen. You had the blood splattered across the screen. And then you've got Balor in full war paint with a top hat, jacket, like Jack the Ripper. I mean, that entrance was awesome. This was a close one, guys, because it was between Balor's TakeOver London entrance and the 25 Years of Undertaker entrance, because the 25 Years of Undertaker entrance had a very sentimental feel to it because of that wooden box that had all the pictures of Undertaker throughout the years, throughout his career. And as a huge Undertaker fan, I thought that was awesome. But there can only be one, and I ended up going with Balor because Balor's entrance just had that spectacle to it. So Finn Balor's Finn the Ripper entrance from NXT TakeOver London takes the award for Entrance of the Year. Next up, OMG Moment of the Year. Now, a little backstory behind this award, guys. Originally, I had 21 nominees in this category. I kid you not, I had 21 nominees for OMG Moment of the Year. The more I looked at that list of nominees, the more I said to myself, you know what, I need to probably cut this list of nominees down by half. And then I started realizing that some of those moments could have been categorized for Extreme Moment of the Year. I could have had those in a separate category for Extreme Moment of the Year. So what I've decided to do is split the OMG Moment of the Year category into an Extreme Moment of the Year category. So I took those 21 nominees and I split them into 2 separate categories. So next up will be Extreme Moment of the Year, but first, let's give out the award for OMG Moment of the Year. And the nominees are Seth Rollins cashes in Money in the Bank and wins the WWE World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 31. Vampiro reveals that he is Pentagon Jr.'s maestro at Ultima Lucha. Pentagon Jr. attempts to break Melissa Santos' arm on an episode of Lucha Underground. Angelico performs a diving dropkick from the top of Dario Cueto's office into the ring on an episode of Lucha Underground. Angelico dives off the top of Dario Cueto's office onto the crew on an episode of Lucha Underground. Samoa Joe debuts at NXT TakeOver Unstoppable. Kevin Owens beats John Cena in his WWE excuse me. Kevin Owens beats John Cena in his WWE debut, Elimination Chamber. The Wyatt family assault The Undertaker after Hell in a Cell. Kalisto's Salida del Sol from the top of the ladder at TLC. And Randy Orton counters the curb stomp out of nowhere at WrestleMania 31. And the award for OMG Moment of the Year goes to Kalisto's Salida del Sol from the top of the ladder. Honestly, guys, if you saw that spot, I don't know how Kalisto is still walking, let alone didn't suffer any severe back or spinal injury from that move. I mean, I know that just happened like 2 weeks ago, but that was an insane spot in what already was an insane ladder match. It's one of those moves where, to me, Kalisto executing that move from the top of the ladder through another ladder, to me, that was one of his, I want to say, breakout moments where he's really opening eyes and he's really making his mark as a future star on the WWE main roster. It was just an awesome moment and marked out when I saw it. And he won the Slammy for OMG Moment of the Year as well. So it's only fitting he wins the OMG Moment of the Year, from yours truly. And I hope that Kalisto gets one hell of a push in 2016. And I hope that Salida del Sol, along with his performance in the TLC match, is a sign of big things to come in his future. Now we get to the Extreme Moment of the Year. And there's only 5 nominees for this category because some of the other nominees from OMG Moment of the Year I just deleted because some of them really weren't like, OMG, OMG. You know what I mean? So with that said, the nominees for Extreme Moment of the Year. Mil Muertes powerbombs Phoenix to hell on an episode of Lucha Underground. Roman Reigns unleashed at TLC. Death by powerbomb. Kevin Owens defeats Sami Zayn by knockout to win the NXT Championship at NXT TakeOver Rival. Undertaker and Brock Lesnar brawl the night after Battleground. And the ECW Originals and the Wyatt family get extreme in Philadelphia on an episode of Monday Night Raw from December 14th. And the winner for Extreme Moment of the Year is Roman Reigns Unleashed. This was the Roman Reigns we needed to get a long time ago. As a matter of fact, this is the Roman Reigns we should have gotten at the beginning of 2015. All that pent-up frustration, all that pent-up frustration, the fact that he had been screwed out of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship once again, reached its boiling point, and Roman Reigns was unleashed. He whipped the hell out of Sheamus. He whipped the hell out of Alberto Del Rio. He whipped the hell out of Rusev. And then he put a beat down on Triple H. And when you thought he was done, he went back for more. And that moment where Roman was walking away after putting Triple H to the table, and then he stopped, looked back, and ran and nearly nearly cut Triple H in half with that spear. That was the night Roman Reigns won over the WWE Universe, and that was the night that the badass that we had been clamoring for since the beginning of January, that was the night that badass returned. And look at what happened 24 hours later. From that moment, Roman Reigns won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. He's now accepted by the WWE Universe, and he'll remain accepted by the WWE Universe if the WWE knows how to push and book him right. He's going to enter 2016 as a WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Do not let his momentum die in 2016. He needs to have a strong run as champion, and what ultimately will solidify him as a badass is a marquee feud with Triple H, culminating at a match at WrestleMania 32. That's what needs to happen, and it has to happen, or else everything else that Roman Reigns has done since TLC will pretty much have been for nothing. But Roman Reigns, in my opinion, took Extreme to a whole new level with the way that he whooped the hell out of everybody after TLC, at the end of the TLC match. And that is why Roman Reigns is the recipient of the Robbie One Kenobi 2015 Pro Wrestling Year-End Award for Extreme Moment of the Year. Next up, we have Ring Announcer of the Year, another little unique award I came up with for this show. The nominees are Melissa Santos, JoJo, Eden, Dasha Fuentes, and Lillian Garcia. And guys, this was a no-brainer from the start. The winner for Ring Announcer of the Year is Melissa Santos. Melissa Santos brought it this year. She did her thing on Lucha Underground. She was one of my favorite parts of Lucha Underground every week. Every time I watched an episode of Lucha Underground, in addition to the great action, great performers who were going to be showcased, I always loved hearing Melissa Santos say, the following Lucha is scheduled for one fall. The girl did her thing every week. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's got it. You know, she was just an awesome ring announcer throughout all of season 1 of Lucha Underground. Can't wait to see more of her during season 2. And eventually, I hope Melissa Santos gets called up to NXT and WWE and gets to strut her stuff on that big stage. So Melissa Santos, if you're watching this, I love you. Congratulations. You're well deserving of my 2015 Pro Wrestling Year-End Award for Ring Announcer of the Year. Next up, we have Commentary Team of the Year. Now, originally, this was supposed to be the Commentator of the Year award, and I had trouble narrowing it down to just one commentator that I wanted to honor, because I do have my favorites in WWE and NXT and Lucha Underground. Shout out to We Are Pro Wrestling, who did his WAPW awards last night. If you guys haven't seen it, of course, go check out his channel and check out his awards. He did a Commentary Team of the Year award, and that inspired me to do my own Commentary Team of the Year award. There's no nominees because, honestly, there's only one commentary team that deserves this award, and that's the team of Matt Striker and Vampiro from Lucha Underground. Their commentary was right to the point. They made a great color commentary team. They didn't spend time plugging a network or a national food brand or an app or anything like that. When it came down to Lucha Underground, Matt Striker and Vampiro called it like they saw it. They talked about the history of certain wrestlers or the history of Lucha Libre. They talked about how one wrestler was dangerous, how one wrestler had a mystique to them. They knew what they were talking about. They weren't plugging a WWE network, a WWE app, this food chain, that food chain. Lucha Underground, and I'm not trying to bash WWE, but when it came down to commentary, Vampiro and Matt Striker nailed it out the park. Like I said in my Ultima Lucha review back in August, when I met Matt Striker, I told him I thought he and Vampiro were doing an incredible job as commentators. They understand what commentary is all about. They understand what it's all about in this business, and they nailed it. I loved their commentary. Now, the only thing that concerns me is that Vampiro won't be doing color commentary for Lucha Underground Season 2 because, of course, he's Pentagon Jr.'s maestro. So I just am wondering who they're going to bring in to do color commentary with Matt Striker for Season 2. They did bring in that one dude, I think Michael Schiavello was his name, for Night 2 of Ultima Lucha, but like I said, I just couldn't get into that guy's commentary because I felt like he was trying to force me to enjoy his commentary. I felt like some of it was forced. So hopefully they'll get somebody like, I don't know, maybe Jim Cornette and Al Snow, maybe Jim Ross. I know those are all, you know, 1 in a million shots, but still, anything can happen. Never say never. But Matt Striker and Vampiro, undoubtedly the best commentary team of 2015 and deserving of my Commentary Team of the Year award. All right, before we get to the next award, you guys, I want to go to the comments section and my Twitter page, and nothing. All right, no new comments, no new questions, nothing yet. All right then, so let's get to our next award, which is Segment of the Year. And the nominees are the NXT Divas kickstart the Divas Revolution on the Go Home show to Battleground. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar the night after WrestleMania 31. Undertaker and Brock Lesnar brawl the night after Battleground. Vampiro accepts Pentagon Jr.'s challenge on an episode of Lucha Underground. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens contract signing for NXT TakeOver Rival. Paul Heyman shoots on the WrestleMania 31 main event on an episode of Raw. Sasha Banks versus Bayley contract signing for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. And The Rock and Ronda Rousey confront the Authority at WrestleMania 31. And the winner for Segment of the Year is Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar the night after WrestleMania 31. Guys, this segment was just insane. I remember watching this segment. I remember marking out. I remember just thinking that was one of the coolest things I had seen in recent years. That was just freaking awesome. You had Seth Rollins come out for what was supposed to be a WWE World Heavyweight Championship match against Brock Lesnar. He comes out. He says he's jet lagged. He feels, you know, he says he's going to give Brock his rematch, but because he's jet lagged, it's not going to be tonight. It's not going to be on that night. Brock Lesnar says to hell with this. He goes right after Seth Rollins. Seth tries to jump the barricade. He grabs Seth by the waist like he's going to German suplex him. He throws him into the ring, goes after Seth. Seth tries to escape again, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Brock proceeds to just kick the crap, destroy everyone that gets in his way. He destroys J&J Security. He flips over the announcer's table. He grabs Michael Cole and delivers a insane F5 in the ring. He picks up the cameraman, who I believe was Dylan Drake, you know, an independent, a local independent wrestler who's wrestled for APW and I believe BTW. He gives him an F5. It was just one of the most insane segments I saw this whole year. Yes, Undertaker and Brock's brawl later in July, the night after Battleground, was an insane brawl because they went like, what, 2-3 segments or something like that, and the entire freaking roster had to break them apart. But I just enjoyed Seth and Brock's segment a little more simply because that's the Brock Lesnar you don't want to see. If you piss Brock Lesnar off and that Brock Lesnar comes after you, you better get the hell out of Dodge like Seth Rollins did. But that was awesome. That's why people love Brock Lesnar. They pay to see him kick ass and take names. Eat, sleep, conquer, repeat, and he'll take your ass to Suplex City. I mean, that was one of Brock Lesnar's best moments since returning to WWE. I think that was one of his best segments. Just embodies what an ass kicker Brock Lesnar is. And the only unfortunate part is that this didn't get a major payoff at SummerSlam because while I love the series of matches Taker and Brock had in 2015, Rollins and Brock could have been the marquee main event of SummerSlam if they had saved it for August instead of Battleground in July. You know, that could have been the ultimate payoff. Have Rollins either, you know, weasel his way out or actually beat Brock clean for the with the championship on the line and further establish him as the top guy in the industry. But just an awesome segment, an insane moment. That's the Brock Lesnar we love to see. Eat, sleep, conquer, repeat. He will kick your ass and take you to Suplex City. Just one of the best ways for a face to go after the heel weasel champion. I mean, other guys would have just jumped the barricade and chased him all over the arena. No, Brock Lesnar freaking got Seth Rollins in a waist lock and tried to suplex him and threw him back in the ring. It was just, that was awesome. That was just freaking awesome. And that's why I'm honoring it as the segment of the year. Next award is the newcomer of the year. And the nominees are Kevin Owens, Neville, the Lucha Dragons, Samoa Joe, Apollo Crews, James Storm, and Asuka. And the award for newcomer of the year goes to Asuka. Now, I love Apollo Crews. I'm sure a lot of people will pick Apollo Crews as their newcomer of the year. You know, like I said, I love Apollo Crews. He's had one hell of a start to his WWE run since debuting at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. But I just love Asuka more. And I think Asuka is undoubtedly the future of NXT's women's division and the future of the WWE. I don't think I'm going to call it Divas division. I think in this sense I'm going to call it women's division because hopefully it'll go back to being a women's division, not necessarily a Divas division, although the Divas division is one of WWE's trademarks. But Asuka is undoubtedly the face of, she will become the face of NXT's women's division and most likely the face of WWE's women's / Divas division when she gets called up to the main roster. The girl is lovely and lethal. She is a deadly striker. She will knock your head off with one of her kicks. She'll choke you out in the Asuka lock. This girl is a badass. And for what she did in the short time that she arrived on NXT, I mean, she gained a fan following just like that. You know, you got the crowd chanting, Asuka's gonna kill you. And she just goes out there and she kills her opponent. She had an exciting debut match against Dana Brooke at TakeOver Respect. Had a hell of a match against Emma at TakeOver London. I mean, Asuka has just captured the WWE, the NXT universe. She's won them over just like that, you know. And I can only see Asuka doing more, you know, bigger and better things, excuse me, in 2016. You know, she doesn't say much, and she really doesn't need to say much. All you need to know is that this girl comes to fight, and she will kick your ass. And if she gives you that look, and you know what look I'm talking about, you either better turn your head and not look at her, or you better just get the hell out of Dodge. Because Asuka's gonna kill you. Asuka, lethal, lovely, and the recipient of the Robbie One Kenobi 2015 Pro Wrestling Year-End Award for Newcomer of the Year. All right, guys, next up is the Feud of the Year. Oh, I wanted to just say one thing. I don't have any New Japan Pro Wrestling or ROH. Well, I have some ROH nominees on here, but I don't have a lot of New Japan Pro Wrestling nominees on here. I really don't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'd like to start watching it, but yeah, I did not watch any New Japan Pro Wrestling in 2015. I did watch some ROH, but if you've noticed, I don't have a lot of ROH matches or moments on here. That was a disaster in the sense of it started off well with Destination America. I was able to watch it every Wednesday, and then I started working later at night on Wednesdays. I don't have DVR, so I can't DVR ROH. So yeah, guys, this is mainly awards for WWE, NXT, and Lucha Underground. I'm hoping in 2016, though, I can watch more ROH, New Japan Pro Wrestling, maybe even PWG. But with that said, let's move on to the Feud of the Year. So nominees for Feud of the Year are John Cena versus Kevin Owens, Sasha Banks versus Bayley, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt, and Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens. And the award for Feud of the Year goes to Sasha Banks versus Bayley. Undoubtedly, the feud that redefined women's wrestling and took it to new heights. These two women, both Bay Area born and bred, Sasha Banks and Bayley, took women's wrestling to a whole new level. And look at what they achieved by doing so. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, they delivered undoubtedly the match of the night and the best women's wrestling match of all time. They stole the show on a card where you had Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens in a ladder match as the main event. Then 2 months later, Bayley and Sasha reunite, they reacquaint themselves, and they go one-on-one in the main event of NXT TakeOver Respect with the NXT Women's Championship on the line. And this time, they make history not only by being in the main event of an NXT TakeOver special, but by competing in an Iron Woman match, a 30-minute Iron Woman match. 2 incredible matches, 2 incredible performers, and just a bar that was risen higher and higher each time for women's wrestling. This feud undoubtedly made both of them, solidified both of them as 2 of the best women's wrestlers out there, and this feud ultimately redefined women's wrestling and took it to new heights. Sasha Banks and Bayley, I have the utmost respect for what they achieved this year, not only as singles competitors, but also in this feud. Undertaker and Brock, you could definitely make an argument for that being feud of the year, because that was just an insane feud with an insane payoff at Hell in a Cell. But honestly, Sasha and Bayley, I was just more invested in that feud. It was an incredible feud. What they did for women's wrestling, just remarkable. So Sasha and Bayley, congratulations. You both deserve the credit and recognition for Feud of the Year in 2015. Next up, we have the Tag Team of the Year. And the nominees are The New Day, The Young Bucks, The Addiction, Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy, Blake and Murphy, Team Ivelisse, which is Ivelisse, Son of Havoc, and Angelico, and Dash and Dawson. And the award for Tag Team of the Year goes to The New Day. If you were to tell me in the beginning of the year that The New Day would become the hottest thing on WWE's main roster, I don't think I would have believed you. The New Day had a not-so-good start to 2015. There are 3 great performers, but their gimmick just wasn't getting over with the WWE Universe. And at WrestleMania 31, the crowd, before WrestleMania 31, at Royal Rumble in Philadelphia, crowd was chanting, New Day sucks. And then at WrestleMania 31, that chant increased. And you had the Bay Area crowd chanting, New Day sucks. So New Day, obviously, they weren't working as faces. And then what happens? They turn heel, and they ultimately become the hottest tag team, hottest faction on the main roster. They become the hottest act on the main roster, and they go on to become 2-time tag team champions. World famous 2-time champs, as Big E would say. New Day, 3 great performers. They've had some great matches with the tag team championships on the line. That tag team championship ladder match at TLC was awesome. Their promo work is great. Xavier Woods on the trombone is priceless. I love New Day. I know eventually there's going to be a day when all 3 teams, where all 3 of them split from each other, when the team is ultimately disbanded. And I'm afraid that when that does happen, WWE's not going to have any direction for all 3 guys. So I hope the New Day even if they're not tag team champions, I hope they stay a team for a majority of 2016, hell, for all of 2016. But undoubtedly, undoubtedly, New Day had a standout year in 2015. They started from the bottom, made their way to the top. I mean, they are just the best act on the main roster. They're funny. Their promo work is great. Xavier Woods has made the trombone a household weapon, item, whatever you want to call it. I mean, the New Day is awesome. They are my pick for Tag Team of the Year, and they should have gotten the Slammy for Tag Team of the Year. Nothing against the Usos. I love the Usos, but honestly, the New Day had a much more progressive year in 2015, a much more standout year than the Usos did. Next, we have a 2-for-1 category, so to speak. We have return/comeback of the year. Now, let me explain how this is going to work. I'm going to read you the nominees, and then I'm going to explain how I do this as a 2-for-1 award. So the nominees: the Dudley Boys, The Undertaker, Sting, NWO, DX, The All Night Express, Vampiro, and Alberto Del Rio. Now, how this is going to work is, originally this category was supposed to be Return of the Year, and everyone that I listed was nominated. But when I think of Return of the Year, I think of a superstar or superstars who had a memorable return, a crazy OMG mark out moment kind of return. And I was looking at a couple of nominees on here, and one of them stood out to me for having an amazing comeback in 2015. So, you know, comeback is another word for return. But then I decided, well, you know what? One nominee had a strong return. The other one had a strong comeback. So I've decided I'm going to do a 2-for-1. A 2-for-1 category. So 2 awards in 1 category. So the winner for Return of the Year is the Dudley Boys. The Dudley Boys undoubtedly had the best return of the year. I mean, that was one of the loudest pops I've ever heard for any returning superstar in recent years. And nobody knew the Dudley Boys were going to return to the WWE. No one expected the Dudley Boys to return. Yes, Bubba made a return at Royal Rumble. He competed in the match. We were hoping Devon would return in that match too. He didn't. We were hoping maybe Dudley Boys would return in time for WrestleMania 31. None of us expected they would return when they did, and with the reaction that they got. I mean, just go back, watch that moment, and listen to that crowd say, "Get the tables." One of the loudest crowd reactions I have heard in a long time. I mean, just an incredible return for one of the most decorated tag teams in professional wrestling history. Now, the winner for Comeback of the Year is The Undertaker. We all thought Undertaker was done after WrestleMania 30. He looked old. He looked a little like a shell of a wrestler. He suffered a bad concussion in the match against Brock. None of us thought Undertaker was going to return. So when we found out Undertaker was going to wrestle Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 31, we were like, okay, this might go bad, you know, because we saw what happened with Taker when he went up against Brock. We saw the photos of him. He's getting older. You know, he really can't do much now. We didn't think Undertaker, we were concerned for Undertaker. We didn't know if he could still go, you know, against Bray Wyatt. And what ends up happening? Taker returns with his hair grown, and he looks better than ever, so to speak. He proved he could still go. He had a good, solid match with Bray at WrestleMania 31. And then he had that series of wars with Brock from August until October. And those were just some insane matches. Taker took some insane bumps and F5 through the announce table at SummerSlam. He took that wicked F5 on the wooden floor at the end of Hell in a Cell. I mean, Undertaker proved that he can still go. And he was nothing like the shell of the wrestler we saw back at WrestleMania 30 against Brock Lesnar. And then Taker had one more match, and that was, of course, on the 25th anniversary of his debut on WWE TV. He had that tag team match with Kane against the Wyatt family, and he still proved he could go. Undertaker had a remarkable comeback in 2015. He only lost once this year, but he put on just, you know, he proved a lot of doubters wrong. He silenced critics. Undertaker just had a remarkable comeback. To go from the state he was in 2014 when he lost to Brock to where he is now, with probably WrestleMania 32 being his last match, that was just an incredible and remarkable comeback for Undertaker. So the Dudley Boys earn the award for Return of the Year, while the Undertaker earns the award for Comeback of the Year. All right, I'm going to take another break right now, guys. So we have 6 categories left. We're almost there. We're near the finish. Still no new comments. Nothing new on Twitter. All right, guys, let's keep it going. 6 more awards left. Let's just go out there and let's finish strong. Next up, the award for Show of the Year. Nominees are WrestleMania 31, Ultima Lucha, Money in the Bank, Beast in the East, Payback, and Battleground. And the winner for Show of the Year is, and I might be a little biased with this answer, but the winner for Show of the Year is WrestleMania 31. Despite all the bad build, all the bad hype going into this WrestleMania, this show delivered big time. This was one of the best WrestleManias I had seen in recent years. I was there live, of course. This show was just awesome from start to finish. An awesome ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. An awesome match between Orton and Rollins with one of the sickest finishes in WrestleMania history. It was just, you had to see it to believe it. Sting and Triple H in a hell of a fight. You know, where Sting should have gone over. I still agree to this day Sting should have gone over in that match. But I found out that Sting, you know, didn't want to go out, you know, that he didn't win because he wanted to put Triple H over because he felt that WrestleMania 31 was going to be his last match. Hey, that's how Sting feels. I respect Sting for what he's achieved. I still feel he should have gone over. The Divas tag match, Paige and AJ versus the Bella Twins, was good, solid, real good United States Championship match between Cena and Rusev. Like I said, with Taker and Bray Wyatt, good, solid big man match. And then a hell of a match between Brock and Roman for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, with Seth Rollins cashing in and winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Just an incredible show, guys. Now, I'm not saying Ultima Lucha was a bad show. That was a hell of a show in itself, too, and that's definitely worth checking out, you guys. If you haven't seen Ultima Lucha, go check that show out. And go check out my review as well. You know, that was a hell of a show. That was like Lucha Underground's WrestleMania, so to speak. You know, I didn't really want to do honorable mention. Honorable mention, of course, isn't a bad thing, but Ultima Lucha definitely deserves to be checked out. But my winner for Show of the Year, since there can only be one show, is WrestleMania 31. I just really enjoyed that show from start to finish. And like I said, I might be biased because I was there live. I did the whole WrestleMania 31 weekend experience. But that show was just awesome. And it delivered. And that was a show that a lot of fans didn't think was going to deliver because it just had a lot of bad build and a lot of bad hype. But in the end, everyone went out there, busted their asses off, and put on a hell of a show. One of the best shows of 2015. And in my opinion, the best show of 2015. Next up, NXT TakeOver Special of the Year. Nominees are TakeOver Rival, TakeOver Unstoppable, TakeOver Brooklyn, TakeOver Respect, and TakeOver London. And the award goes to NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Undoubtedly the biggest show in NXT history. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn had that magic that made it just an incredible show. It was a hell of a show. And if you've seen my reviews of both Brooklyn and London, you know that I gave London a higher score than Brooklyn. I still think Brooklyn was an incredible show. And if I had to pick one special between those two, the one special to definitely check out is TakeOver Brooklyn. It just had that magic, you know. You had Jushin Thunder Liger's WWE debut against Tyler Breeze. That was a good, fun match. The debut of Apollo Crews, which was a good, fun debut. And then the two marquee main events. You also had a good tag team championship match between Blake and Murphy and the Vaudevillains, Samoa Joe and Finn Balor in a good, hard-hitting big man match. And then the two marquee main events. The remarkable Sasha versus Bayley Women's Championship match. And an awesome ladder match between Balor and Kevin Owens. I mean, this show had it all. It had that magic. It was just, you had to see. If you were in that crowd, if you were at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn when that show went down, you could feel this magic. It would just give you goosebumps. If you saw it live, you could feel that magic come through the screen. Just TakeOver Brooklyn was an incredible show. I don't necessarily want my show ratings to affect your guys' opinions, as well as my awards, as the, you know, as I didn't even necessarily want match ratings and show ratings to affect my choices for these awards. TakeOver Brooklyn, you guys, was just incredible. You have to see this show to believe it. If you only watch one NXT TakeOver special, definitely check out Brooklyn. It just had it all. It had that magic that made it just a remarkable night for NXT. Next up, we have Promotion of the Year. The nominees are WWE, NXT, TNA, ROH, New Japan Pro Wrestling, PWG, and Lucha Underground. And the award for Promotion of the Year goes to NXT. Undoubtedly, NXT broke new ground this year as a promotion. Yes, it is part of WWE. It is WWE's developmental brand, but you know what? After this standout, remarkable year in 2015, NXT has established itself as its own brand. It brought in some of the hottest talent from the independent circuits. Kevin Owens, Apollo Crews, Asuka. It brought in Samoa Joe, you know, one of TNA's most recognizable names and one of the most recognizable names on the indie circuit. The women, the Divas Revolution, the real Divas Revolution with Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. The women paved a new ground for their fellow wrestling sisters. You had incredible matches throughout the year from both sides, you know, whether it was Finn Balor and Kevin Owens at Beast and East, or Finn Balor and Kevin Owens at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, Sasha and Bayley in their two incredible women's championship matches, Charlotte versus Sasha, you had Sasha versus Becky, you had Apollo Crews and Tyler Breeze, in a match I personally think was the hidden gem from NXT in 2015. You know, you had Finn Balor and Adrian Neville, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in their two matches. You know, Hideo Itami had a real good match with Tyler Breeze. You know, you just got, this is wrestling, guys. NXT understands what wrestling is. You know, great wrestling, great storylines, great character development, a great cast of characters, both men and women. NXT did its thing in 2015. But Lucha Underground, I definitely got to give props to Lucha Underground for what they did. Lucha Underground really made a name for itself in the short period of time that it was around prior to its season 1 finale, Ultima Lucha. And that gave you what you wanted from wrestling. Great wrestling, great storytelling, great storylines, great character development. There can only be one promotion of the year. I gave it to NXT. But Lucha Underground is definitely leaving its mark, and I guarantee you it's going to leave an even bigger mark in 2016, and it's going to probably come down to NXT and Lucha Underground when I do my 2016 year-end awards. But for 2015, NXT definitely took the cake in terms of being the promotion of the year. And finally, guys, the 3 most prestigious awards of this award show. First up, match of the year. The nominees are Sasha Banks versus Bayley from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Bayley versus Sasha Banks in the Iron Woman match from NXT TakeOver Respect. Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell from Hell in a Cell. Phoenix versus Mil Muertes in Grave Consequences from Lucha Underground. Pentagon Jr. versus Vampiro in the Cero Miedo match from Ultima Lucha. Kevin Owens versus John Cena from Money in the Bank. John Cena versus Kevin Owens from Battleground. Brock Lesnar versus John Cena versus Seth Rollins from Royal Rumble. Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch from NXT TakeOver Unstoppable. Kevin Owens versus Finn Balor from Beast in the East. And Finn Balor versus Samoa Joe from NXT TakeOver London. And the award for Match of the Year for 2015 goes to Sasha Banks versus Bayley from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Guys, what more can I say about this match? It was just an incredible women's wrestling match. It had it all. Great storytelling, pure emotion, great athleticism. One hell of a crowd in the Brooklyn crowd. And what an ending with the magic that show had and the magic that Sasha and Bayley produced in that match. To see Bayley win the NXT Women's Championship was a true feel-good moment. Those two women redefined women's wrestling with that match. It is undoubtedly the best women's wrestling match of all time, the best women's wrestling match in NXT history, the best women's match in WWE history. Sasha Banks and Bayley stole the show at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. I mean, what more can I say, guys, about this match that I haven't already said? If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. If you're a true wrestling fan, you'll check this match out. And you'll definitely check out their Iron Woman match as well, because that was just another incredible match. Sasha Banks and Bayley are the reason why women's wrestling is alive and well. It's the reason that they have set the bar high for their wrestling sisters. And it's the reason why the True Divas Revolution started in NXT and will continue in NXT. Kudos to Sasha Banks and Bayley for earning my respect and for earning my award for Match of the Year. Who would have thought that a women's wrestling match would earn Match of the Year? But guys, it was just an incredible match that set the standard for women's wrestling, rose that bar high, and ultimately embodied what the Divas Revolution is all about. Next up, Women's Wrestler of the Year. And the nominees are Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Ivelisse, and Sexy Star. And guys, this is a no-brainer, hands down. The award for Women's Wrestler of the Year goes to the boss, Sasha Banks. Undoubtedly, the best women's wrestler out there right now. At 23 years old, Sasha Banks has become one of the hottest, literally and figuratively, women's wrestlers in this world, in this business. She had an incredible NXT Women's Championship reign from February until August. Last year she put herself on the map as one of the best women's wrestlers with her match against Charlotte at NXT TakeOver Our Evolution. 2 months later, she beats Charlotte in a fatal 4-way to win the NXT Women's Championship. Had a great rematch with Charlotte, I believe a week or two after TakeOver Rival. Had an incredible Women's Championship match against Becky Lynch, in which Becky had her breakout performance, her coming out party. Had another great match with Charlotte on NXT TV, and then of course had the 2 standout women, defining matches with Bayley at TakeOver Brooklyn and TakeOver Respect. And yes, Sasha hasn't really done much on the main roster, and it's a damn shame she's been made irrelevant. But the truth of the matter is Sasha had the best year of the women that I nominated. Sasha had the standout year. You can make an argument for Bayley because Bayley also had really good matches throughout the year. She developed a little bit more. She had that incredible storyline where she was going for the NXT Women's Championship. Her road to glory, so to speak, which ultimately culminated at TakeOver Brooklyn. She had a real good women's championship match with Nia Jax at TakeOver London. Bayley has embodied a fighting champion. Bayley has embodied what it means to be a true champion. So you can make the argument with Bayley, but my pick for Women's Wrestler of the Year, because she just had a standout year from beginning to end, despite what happened on the main roster, Sasha Banks. And I really hope Sasha gets the push she deserves in 2016 because the fans want Sasha. You give the fans Sasha and you give the fans what they want out of Sasha, and you will have your hottest, you will have undoubtedly the new face of women's wrestling on the WWE main roster. And finally, guys, the last award of the show, the last award of the afternoon, Wrestler of the Year. The nominees are Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, John Cena, Prince Puma, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Jay Lethal, and AJ Styles. Now, this one, guys, was a little hard for me to come up with because, I narrowed it down to 3. I actually narrowed it down to 3. It was hard to come up with this decision, but in the end, the award for Wrestler of the Year goes to Kevin Owens. Now, originally, I was going to go with Seth Rollins. Really bad booking aside, Rollins did have great matches with the likes of John Cena, Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton, Roman Reigns. Seth was on a lot. He was on a majority of the pay-per-views, especially as champion. He was always on Raw. He was always on SmackDown. Seth really proved himself as a main event player. Of course, the Royal Rumble triple threat match, he had his breakout performance, and that was the moment where he solidified himself as a future main event player. So I was originally going to go with Seth Rollins, but I ultimately went with Kevin Owens because when I look at both of their runs in 2015, when I consider how they were both booked, Owens had a stronger year than Rollins. I love Rollins. I respect Rollins. He's one of my all-time favorite. He's one of my all-time favorites on the current main roster. I can't wait to see him return in 2016. I hope he gets better booking, has a better run as a babyface. But honestly, guys, like I said earlier, Kevin Owens just had that Brock Lesnar year in 2015, and he had great matches with the likes of Sami Zayn and John Cena and Finn Balor and Cesaro and Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler. Kevin Owens just had great match after great match. Yes, I was not a fan of how he was booked in the 2 rematches with Cena, especially the fact he had to tap out at Battleground in the United States Championship match. That pissed me off beyond belief. And I was just so concerned Owens was done at that point, that Owens was going to have a hard time regaining his momentum. But Owens ultimately on both NXT and WWE had a standout year. And, you know, like I said, guys, it came down to 3 at first. And I was going to go with Finn Balor at one point. Then I considered everything that Rollins achieved. But honestly, and I'm not trying to say that bad booking ultimately was the deciding factor in this whole award. But honestly, when you look at it, Kevin Owens had a better year as a champion than Seth Rollins did. And this is no knock on Seth. It was just he was the unfortunate victim of very bad booking. So in the end, guys, Kevin Owens, I am giving him the nod because, like I said, he had a hell of a year. Everything he achieved, great matches with the likes of, you know, Zayn and Cena and Cesaro and Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler and Finn Balor. Owens just had great matches, was one hell of a heel, was one hell of a badass. I mean, if this was his best year so far, so to speak, even though he's only been with WWE and NXT for a year, just imagine how bigger and better things are going to get for him, if booked right, of course, in 2016. But Kevin Owens, for all that he's achieved this year, for everything he's achieved, NXT champion, Intercontinental champion, Final Four in the Survivor Series WWE World Heavyweight Championship tournament, you know, great trilogy of matches with John Cena, for everything that Kevin Owens has achieved. Kevin Owens is the recipient of the Robbie One Kenobi 2015 Pro Wrestling Year-End Award for Wrestler of the Year. And with that said, guys, that concludes the Robbie One Kenobi 2015 Pro Wrestling Year-End Awards. What a year it's been for professional wrestling. I honestly cannot believe that 2015 it comes to an end Thursday night at midnight. 2016 is right around the corner. As a wrestling fan, I'm hoping to get just another great year from all these promotions. I know WWE had a bad year in 2015. They did have some great matches. They did have some great moments. Wasn't their best year for sure. So I'm hoping they give us a much better product throughout 2016. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what NXT and Lucha Underground are going to give us in 2016. And I'm hoping I can start watching more ROH and New Japan Pro Wrestling. I really don't care about TNA. I know I only mentioned them once, and that was in the Promotion of the Year award. But yeah, guys, that will do it. This is most likely my last video for 2015. So I just want to take this time to personally thank everybody who watched my videos, who commented, who subscribed to my channel, who liked my videos, who followed me on Twitter as a result of my videos. I want to thank everybody for all your support. Thank you for tuning into my videos. I want to make 2016 another great year in terms of my YouTube channel. I'm definitely going to be, definitely hoping to pump out more videos, I should say, throughout the year. As far as my 50 subscribers Q&A video, I will do that. I think that's going to most likely be my first video of 2016. That'll probably most likely be the first video I upload for 2016. But like I said, guys, thank you to everyone who liked any of my videos, who watched them, left me comments, subscribed to my channel, followed me on Twitter. I gotta give some big shout outs to Mr. Paul JB44, great friend of mine. Thank you for all the love and support, bro. Breather35, always great to see your comments on my videos. Always great to get a tweet from you. You always tweet me and message me like the most positive things, man. Thank you for the support. Gotta, of course, send a shout out to my little brother, my little YouTube brother. We're not related, but he's like a little brother to me. You gotta definitely give a shout out to Gamerman16, my man Brandon De Jesus. Thanks for all the support, man. Hope to see more videos from you. We definitely need to get together for a collaboration on Skype. I'm still working on downloading that for the computer so we can do a collaboration, whether it's a 2K16 review or 2K or 2016. I almost said 2K16. Look at that. 2016 predictions video, whatever you want to do. Shout out to We Are Pro Wrestling. James, thank you for all the plugs I got throughout this year. You know, when I entered the 2015 Royal Rumble WAPW contest. Yeah, shout out to Mildly Moderate Red for a lot of the support he's been giving me lately. Just shout out to everybody who supported this channel throughout 2015. Thanks for all your comments, your subscriptions, your likes. And, you know, cheers to 2016, guys. I want to make it another great year. And I hope all of us in the YWC have a great year. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know who your picks are for any of these awards. Breakout Star, Entrance of the Year, Match of the Year, Wrestler of the Year, so forth. So with that said, guys, thank you once again. This is Robbie One Kenobi signing off. And remember, guys, stay blessed, stay grateful, and always remember that God is good. Until next time, I will see you all in 2016. God bless. And in the words of Xavier Woods, keep it tight. Happy New Year, everybody. See you down the road in 2016.